Welcome to Tambay TV. Okay, before we get into this episode, bakit parang maiksi lang siya? Kasi nagkamali ako, hindi ko na-record lahat. Pero what we have are snippets of my interview with Ashley V. Robinson. She's Top Cow's head editor, and she hosts she's on Collider's Heroes. Check her out there. And don't hate me, guys. Medyo putol-putol siya, pero bear with it. There's still some snippets I think you guys will enjoy. So, without further ado, let's get Tambay. Ladies and gentlemen, Ashley V. Robinson.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
Welcome to Tambay TV, madam. It's been
Merci beaucoup.
Okay, first things first. I started following this wonderful lady when actually it was on Heroes. It was on Heroes, and then I was looking for something on YouTube about because I wanted to draw the Fantastic Four, and I ended up discovering Geek History Lesson, which is like
We do. We have a huge Fantastic Four episode.
It's an amazing to everyone. Tell them about Geek History Lesson, Ashley, real quick.
So, Geek History Lesson is a podcast that I do with my husband, Jason Inman, and we will teach you, he's the best, about one character, construct, team from pop culture, usually in about an hour, unless it's a really long lesson, then we'll break it up into two parts, but we'll basically... Usually we're taking comic book characters and we're working through those, but we do have lessons on video game characters, characters from books. We have a Teen Wolf episode because I felt like it.
Which one? Which one?
But obviously,
the Teen Titans.
We have a Teen Wolf episode.
Is that new? I haven't seen that.
Oh no, that's old. That's like episode 4.
Oh, maybe because I don't watch Teen Wolf.
I was like watching the TV show, so I was like, oh yeah, we should do Teen Wolf, and so we did.
Maybe I skipped through because I didn't get to watch. I watched like the first couple, but I'm like, it's not really for me. But then okay. So when I listened to that, I'm like, oh my god, because I know you guys both from. I'm a Collider fan, so that's where I see the guys. Because every time,
Collider,
yeah, Collider. What's up? So every time when I'm drawing, I have it instead of music, I have Collider on the TV because I'm working like on a 2-monitor setup. You guys are on the right. And then when I discovered Geek History Lesson, my challenge to myself was like every episode that you were talking about for that day, I would be drawing.
Oh, that's so cool.
That was yeah, I know. So and you guys are like crazy. Well, at the start you were cursing before you stopped cursing.
Yeah.
Which was funnier. I like that better. But anyway, and then so there was you guys did the Batgirl episode. That was amazing. Right, and then that was one of my Ninja Turtles. Oh, I love going through that. That one.
Oh, Jason was excited to do that one. We planned that one for a long time.
Tell me about it. Was it 2 parts? Now that I think about it, was it, or just one long one?
No, it's just one. But with characters like that, or like Ghostbusters, where they're really only from one movie, but they have so much extended universe stuff. They're like more difficult to put together because you have to do a lot more research because they're less concentrated. Whereas if it's just a character who's mostly confined to comic books and has maybe been in a single movie or like the Flash TV show, it's a lot easier to go to one resource and plan the episode based on that.
Oh, okay. No, but then. With the Ninja Turtles, I could tell that it's something personal too, because I'm also a Turtles kid. You know, I grew up watching the Turtles, so.
So you knew.
Yeah. So and Jason also sounded like he knew it from heart because it was something. I think because I think we're around the same age, so that's why we're both. You know, well, you're the ladies are younger. So
a little bit.
I could tell when with his love for like Splinter and all that. So
that you
Yeah.
were the same.
What?
That you guys were the same.
Yeah, exactly. So I enjoyed that episode. So outside that, let's get into you, madam. What is it that you told me about earlier before we got on air technically is that you're also the editor of Top Cow.
Yes, I'm a head editor over at
Head
Top
editor.
Cow right now.
Yeah, Mark, to those who listen, well, if you're listening to this, you would know. That's the brainchild of one of my heroes, Mark Silvestri. Seriously.
He's lovely and also very tall.
Yeah, tell me about it. Can you share with us like a nice Mark Silvestri story?
They're
Were you
all
starstruck the first
nice.
time?
The first so one of my first days was at a comic convention that's usually held in Anaheim, but was in Los Angeles last year called WonderCon,
Yes.
and
Okay.
I was at the booth, just kind of doing what you do when you work at a booth. And Mark showed up because he was doing his.
And it cut. Well, she continues on with that story, but and she said she met Mark Silvestri that day, and that he was very, very tall. And then there was even a comparison of who was taller, Ben Affleck or Mark Silvestri. Because Mark Silvestri, just to those of you who don't know, he used to work as a bouncer. So talagang malaki siyang tao. Well, anyway, Ashley goes on by telling us that she loved reading from the comics from the start, and her love for Archie comics and then play. So, reading Archie comics in French or was it in English?
Oh, I read Archie comics in English. Yeah, I went to school in English, and we spoke English primarily in my home. But yeah, so I'm still reading Archie comics. So that's cool. And I've been writing like since I was, I don't know, 10 or 12, like since I was a little kid. But I literally never thought about writing comics. I mean, even though obviously like I read a ton of comics, and you know that people must be making money doing it.
Yeah.
Until I
So
thought
at
about
an early age,
entering the.
so this was at 11. This was your like your Terrigen Mist. This was your like mutation period. Was
Yeah.
it? It was clear to you at 11 that hey, I want to do this already.
Yeah, I mean,
Nice.
I didn't know. I don't know if I necessarily thought like I could make a career out of it, but like at 11, I was like, I could write a book, like for sure. Still haven't done it, but
You've always tried. You've been trying.
I was very confident that I could. I always knew I was going to do like something arty, so.
So what? Okay, so fast forward a little bit. Did you take up something related to writing in college, or?
Yeah, I went to two universities. Went to University of Ottawa, which is like Canada's national university, and I studied English and theater with a minor in French. And then when I moved to the U.S., I went to a school called the American Musical and Dramatic Academy.
Nice.
And you could basically only study dance or musical theater or acting, and so I studied acting there. But I was always writing throughout that time, and then. Like some of my first job in the States was I worked at a comic book store.
So okay, wait. When you say you're writing, this is like just writing for yourself?
Just for me. I have a couple plays published, but.
What was your first published work?
Like when I was a kid.
As a kid, you have published work. I feel like such a failure.
I mean, when I was a kid, like poems and stuff were like forever. Stuff that I wrote for school was like forever being collected and like, you know, these little things. I don't even know like where those exist anymore. But like technically those are things.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's valid. That was my question. Your first published work. So.
Yeah, I don't think I got paid for them, so.
Well, you were still in school, right?
Yeah, but like I don't know. I think I sold some short stories like when I was in college. And,
to whom would you sell them to?
Man, whoever would take them on the internet. Usually, I try to go for like a literary mag of like some repute, and I had like minor success doing that. But short stories are really hard. I think short form storytelling as like prose or like a 6 to 8 page comic is really hard, or a short film, because you have to just condense your act structure so much, and you can't be precious about anything. Like everything has to be clear and concise and with purpose. Whereas like 20 pages, if you want to do something just because it's cool, like you can kind of get away with it.
Isn't that like the goal? Isn't that like the starting point of things? Just do it because it's cool, and then try to tweak it a little bit for it to fit in whatever. Or is it? Does that make
The goal is
sense?
like, yeah, totally. The goal for me
Uh-huh.
is usually just like to get it on a page. When I write with Jason and on my own, like I always do the first drafts, and I always write them like, "Oh, we can fix this and make it good later."
Yeah, right.
I'm just gonna
Isn't it
try and put
easier
it all
that
out
way?
there.
Because my friend and I are trying to write a story also right now, and that's the way we're going. He's like, he's so conscious about what would this character do and what I'm like, dude, just write stuff, then we'll fix it. Don't even think about
Exactly.
grammar. Just describe something. If you can't really describe it on paper, describe it to me. Then I'll be the one drawing it anyway. So just let it flow, and then from there, is that the right approach? Well, there is no right approach, but that's what like a sensible
That
approach, right?
that's what I do. I've literally written things where I'm like,
Nice.
and then they'll do something cool, and then I'll write the dialogue that'll go over it.
Right? And then,
And it's like then you figure out what it is, or I don't, it also depends on your relationship with your artist.
uh,
I try not to be too descriptive because I'm not an artist. So
okay.
unless
And that's where it cuts. She continues by talking about having like an awesome relationship with your artist and make sure that you guys are communicating properly. Always have an open line of communication between you. And then, yeah, I asked her like, out of the 100 times that some about being working in a publishing company, specifically Top Cow, I asked her like, out of 100 times someone submits, how many times should they expect? How many times are they rejected if it's a first time submitter? She's all like 99 out of 100. So you have to try at least 100 times for your work to get noticed. But then she also elaborated that there are so many ways to get your art or your writing noticed. For okay, let's get into the artists first. For the artist, she says no pinups. Just send her sequential art instead. Dahil sawang-sawa na sila sa mga pin-up art lang. You know, special note to those of you aspiring artists. And then another good advice that I remember her saying was redraw your favorite comics. She gave The Dark Knight as an example. You could redraw Frank Miller's The Dark Knight, your own version. That's hard. I mean, she said that if she could draw, she'd do that. So all of you who could draw, give that a shot. I don't know if I will. We'll see. And then get scripts online. That's where you can uh, learn how to read scripts and what do they mean with whatever, what a splash pages, what a opening shot, all those things. Anyway, and for writers naman, write original stories and partner up with artists. And then I went on by asking her like how many pages. She's like, at least a 9-page sample. And then I remember her repeat keep on, I remember she was repeating, just do it. If you want to draw, just do it. Put yourself online. Put yourself on Tumblr, on Facebook, Twitter. Okay, a special note to all our listeners who are not on Twitter. If you're an artist or you want to follow artists like writers and whatnot, go on Twitter. Get on Twitter. They're very responsive on Twitter. It's sanay kasi tayo sa Facebook pero wala ko personally until like this year or last year I started using Twitter, and they're very responsive. That's how I met Ashley, or where I discovered Ashley, and all that. So make sure to check out add her up on Twitter. Her handle is Ashley V Robinson. Tell her Tambay sent you, and look up her work. She currently has a comic out, Jupiter Jet, an amazing story with Jupiter Jet. How she came up with the name. She was having dinner with her husband Jason, and all of a sudden the name just hit her, Jupiter Jet, and she said it out loud, Jupiter Jet, and then Jason's like, what? And she's like, that's the name of the next comic, and that's if you go on her Twitter page, you'd see it's now it's a character, That's amazing. And also, Love is Love. Check that out on Comixology. Something that she's also very proud of. I think you have to wait in line because they ran out of print. But so check that out. Love is Love. It's an anthology they wrote for like the bombing that happened like recently. Anyway, that's it. It's a relatively short Tambay this week, and well, that's me salvaging whatever I that amazing and very amusing and entertaining and what's another word? Amazing. Just let's just put it at amazing. Interview with Ashley V. Robertson. Thank you so much for listening to Tambay this week. I am Pael Fajardo. Adios.